Okay, time for another account update video. It's been a while since I made a video. Last week was kind of sucky because the Fed meeting on Wednesday and then the market was closed on Friday. So last week was just kind of a sucky week overall, especially for me since had a pretty much a flat week as far as P&L wise. I was up a little bit, but on Wednesday, the Fed day, I ended up taking quite a big loss. And then Thursday, a decent win again. End of the week, up a little bit, but nothing special. Then Friday, the market was closed, obviously. So today was exactly 2 weeks since we started this account from $2,000. And now we're sitting at $3,238. And this comes from last week I took $1,000 out. Or not last week, the first week I did it, I took $1,000 out. Last week I did nothing, and then now we're up $3,238. So with the $1,000 out, this would be $4,000. So a little over double our account in 2 weeks. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's pretty good. So I'm probably gonna take another $1,000 out this week, but we'll see how fast we can double it again. If we can keep doubling this every 2 weeks, that would be great. But obviously that's not going to happen every time. But I like where we're going. I like the feel of the market right now. There's a lot of good setups out there. This week looks to might be a great week. So there's a lot of good setups out there. So I want to go and look at some charts and see what we're looking at for the rest of the week. So hope you guys had a good weekend. Looked at some charts. Got your setups and your levels marked out, and we're ready for a new week. So, well, first of all, we could look at so always remember, first thing we do is check go to investment.com, go to the economic calendar, if I can find it. I already looked at it earlier, but there's not much going on this week, which is great. I like when there's weeks with nothing going on. We have Thursday morning, there's a bunch of inflation and GDP data coming out, so that will probably move the market a little bit, but it's pre-market, and those PCE prices are based off the PPI and the CPI anyway, so this number's normally not a surprise. I mean, very rarely does this move the market, but this is the main number that the Fed usually looks at when they're looking at the inflation, because this kind of combines the CPI and the PPI. So but that happens pre-market, and I'm not too worried about that. And other than that, there's not much going on. Earnings-wise, there is, I think I remember FedEx and Carnival Cruise are tomorrow. Not something I really trade. I used to trade Carnival a lot. It was a fun trade, but they're too cheap now. FedEx I've traded in the past, but Micron, that's the big one on Wednesday. Micron has been on one sick tear. And actually, Micron is the only thing, or not the only thing, but a big part of what's holding up the market right now. So I'm glad I looked at that, because Wednesday after the close, Micron earnings. That's if Micron misses, which I doubt they will, but we'll see what their guidance is. If Micron stock tanks, then I think that's going to take the market back down. Because we go check out Micron. This is just one of the most insane stocks I've ever seen. Like, just look at that. I used to trade this stock, and it was down here in the $200 range. Even before that, I remember trading this thing back when it was under $100. I mean, yeah, I still got levels back here, like down at the $100 level. I had this wedge drawn out down here a long time ago, the middle of last summer, the $100 range. Imagine if I would have taken this breakout trade and never sold. This thing went from $106 clear off the charts. I mean, golly. This is actually insane. $1,200. I mean, what is their market cap? I don't even know where to look for their market cap on Webull. I don't know, but that's insane. But anyway, this is definitely holding the market up right now. So if this thing would tank, market would not like that very well. So yeah, let's see what Micron does. That's gonna be Thursday's gonna be an awesome day. I can't wait for Thursday, because we have that PCE data in the morning, GDP data, and Micron earnings Wednesday night. That's gonna make a wild Thursday. So yeah, Thursday should be interesting. But other than that, not much going on. So let's go look at some charts. Oh, but yeah. So that's, I don't know if I even showed this yet. Ended up $535 today. Pretty awesome day. Could have been better. I sold way too soon on some of my options, but never gonna complain about making money, especially since last week was kind of shitty. I just wanted to get a win to get back on the winning track, so I was happy with it. Took about 3 or so trades today, but yeah, we'll go over those and look at some charts and see what we're seeing. The first thing I want to look at, let's just look at the overall market. I feel the market is getting a little heavy up here. I'm not ready to call a downtrend yet, but a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern forming here, and we're getting a lot of bearish volume. So if we come down and break this low down here, I think we're getting headed back to the downside on the overall market, because, well, a couple of reasons why I say that. First, this lower high we put in here, this gap that we came up and filled, there's this gap right here, we came up and filled it, and today we're not ready. That's why I say we're not ready to call it bearish yet, because we're still holding this gap today. But if we break under yesterday's low or today's low tomorrow, I'm going to watch for a continuation down. But the other reason I say that is, if you go let's go look at some of the other major stocks. Like, some of the biggest stocks in the market have just been selling off, like Netflix. Netflix is insane. Like, this stock cannot catch a break. It's just got smashed. I've been wanting to long this stock for a while, and it just keeps dropping. I thought for sure this base here was going to hold, but broke right through it today. So, and there's no, it's got room. Netflix could still drop some more, but what I'm saying is, look how far Netflix is off its highs. It's all the way down here. Now look at Microsoft, same way, it just smoked all the way down here. Amazon, way off its highs. Meta, way off its highs. Nvidia, not as bad, because semis, of course, are just never go down. Palantir, Palantir made everybody think they're a good investor a couple years ago. Now those people hopefully they took their profits, but Palantir keeps dropping. Tesla, let's look at Tesla. Tesla is not as bad, but it's still down. So all these big name stocks are down, but the SPY is still up here close to its highs. So that tells you, well, a couple things, but something's holding up the SPY, the overall market, and not the big names in the market. So what I think it is, well, a couple things. Obviously, semiconductors. MU, like we talked about, but also AMD. AMD, let's look at some of these others, like ASML, just non-stop uptrend. Intel, new highs. Taiwan Semi, Super Micron, not as good. But all these semi plays are just, AMD made another all-time high today. ARM is up at highs. So all your major, what is Texas? Texas Instruments is up here. So all your major semiconductor plays are up at highs, and that's what's holding up the market. So semis and also financials, if you go look at some of the banks, like Goldman Sachs is at its highs, Wells Fargo is kind of chilling, Bank of America ripping higher, some of the ETFs, Citigroup at its highs, JP Morgan up here. So a lot of the banks have been doing pretty good. So banks and semiconductors have been holding up the market for a while now. So we'll see how long that can last. But I just think that just can't hold on to that. These smaller stocks aren't going to hold up the market for forever. So one of two things are going to happen. Either the rest of the stocks are going to pull the market down, or these other stocks start finding a bottom. If Microsoft and Netflix start finding a bottom, it could push the market back higher, but they're not showing any signs of getting a bottom. I don't see, most of these stocks look pretty bearish. But my favorite chart right now is Apple. I had a pretty good win on Apple today, but I've been watching this stock for a couple days now, and I think it's getting time. So Does anybody see what I'm seeing? First thing I notice when I look at this chart, these big downtrend, these big bearish days right here. Then the next thing I see, bear flag. So this is a pretty nice looking bear flag here on Apple, and if this thing can break, I think this thing could really give us some downside. And I wanted to swing this one short. I've been watching it for a couple days, and I figured if this thing breaks this bear flag, I want to swing this short. But today I entered up here. I got a pretty good entry. Go to the 15-minute. I actually shorted it twice today because I don't like shorting stocks that are strong. So this morning, Apple was the strongest stock in the market. So I watched it come up here to these highs up here. And when I saw these highs break right here, I entered a short. But I knew I did not want to hold this very long. If it was showing signs of breaking, of not going my way, I was going to get out. So as soon as this candle happened, I just stopped out. It was pretty much a break even here because I did not want to hold this thing short. It would have worked out perfect if I held it short, but with it being so strong, I didn't want to hold it. However, we did come down this afternoon and we broke this downtrend or this uptrend line I had, so I took another short here. Actually, I entered a little bit sooner. I entered on this break of the low on this candle. It was a pretty stressful hold here, but ended up paying nicely at the end of the day when it broke down here. I should have, looking back now, I mean, I really wanted to swing it, but I just don't quite trust it yet because Apple's been the strongest stock in the Mag 7, so I don't want to short it because of this level down here. So we got the previous all-time high, this level of resistance here, and then we came down and we bounced right off of it. So we're bear flagging above resistance or above support, which is not ideal. Ideally, I would like this bear flag to be under the level of support. Then I would be more convicted. So very nice looking bear flag, bearish volume, but above the previous highs. So it's got this support level down here. So it's not a perfect, which no setup is perfect, but it's not an A+ setup because it's above this level. If this bear flag was below this level, I would be loading up. But tomorrow, it's going to be my top watch tomorrow. See if this bear flag breaks. I'm going to get in, be pretty aggressive, and hopefully come down to this level. Then I'm going to take profits at this level. I don't want to hold for a bounce here. And also, I'm going to be very careful about a fake out. It's a perfect spot to do a fake out. Like if you look at this chart right now, it looks, if I would look at this chart, I would say, man, that looks like it's going to break out of this bear flag. But then, if I scroll out and see this level that it held back here, makes me a little more nervous. Makes me a little bit nervous about the light volume today on this big upper wick. So what you could see happen is a big wick down and wick way and the stock come back up in here. So I don't want to hold for a swing if that happens. So, but if we open below yet today's low or break it sometime tomorrow, I'm going to watch for a short back down to here. That'll be a nice short play there if that happens, but tight stop losses. And I probably won't swing it. If we get a big extension down, I'm going to try to swing some, but I'm only going to swing it if I can get a good entry and take profits off before the end of the day. Because I just don't want to hold too big of a position overnight in this market. So yeah, Apple's a great one to watch for tomorrow. Nvidia, let me get rid of some of these lines. Nvidia had a nice recheck day today too, so I'm going to be watching that for a short tomorrow. Basically, most of the stocks I'm looking at, I'm watching short for tomorrow. But that's another thing that I don't like. Normally, if a lot of the stocks look short, then it's time to not be short. But Google surprised me. I thought Google was a pretty strong stock. Google has been holding within this level, within this range for about 3 weeks now. And today it made a new low, but it still held. That makes it tough to trade. So I really don't know what to do with Google right now, so I probably won't trade Google. Palantir. Well, if you've been watching my videos, I've been trying to long cap Palantir for a while. I thought it was really going to start bouncing here off of this major level, but the day we went up into this level and got rejected. And did I short this thing? This was my best trade of the day here. Got this short. So I was happy here. I've been long-minded on Palantir, but I learned my lesson last week, being too biased. And even though I've been bullish on Palantir this whole time, it just wanted to reject today, so we rode her to the downside. And did she pay out? I was happy with that one. So now we just watch. I have a hard time seeing this just drop another day tomorrow, but we'll see what happens there. Netflix, same thing here. I've been trying to go long Netflix, just won't happen. Had another big down day today. I don't know how far it's going to go down, but it can always go lower till it hits 0, I guess. So Netflix, I don't know what to do there. Microsoft, same thing here. This thing just keeps dropping. Amazon, I'm going to watch Amazon for a short tomorrow as well. So IWM is still up here at highs. Intel made a new high today. I can't believe Intel is up there. Intel was the shittiest stock in the world for a long time. I mean, this thing was just drifting down, $20. Then Trump decided to boost it. Tesla is down here. What's crypto doing? Let's go look at crypto. Bitcoin keeps popping. Oh, it's good. Got smacked today. Yeah, crypto's still not looking too hot. It's tried to bounce here. It's had a nice bounce, but XRP tried to bounce, getting smacked. Ethereum, same. Nothing too exciting going on in crypto. So that's about what I got for you today. Watch for a break of today's low. Watch for this bear flag break on Apple. Google might be a good spot for a bounce. Nvidia, probably watch for a short. Netflix. I mean, I would like to say Netflix got to bounce some point, but it's not at 0 yet, so it doesn't have to. Alright, that's it for today. Stay tuned. I might do some live trading later on this week, so maybe even tomorrow morning. Set your alerts. I hope to see you there. Peace.